meet somebody and they tell you they're in therapy, that's not a red flag.
Oh, that's a green flag.
That's a green flag.
I love that.
Especially for heterosexual black men.
We have really evolved.
Please.
No,
You
especially
have to.
for black men, it is a green flag.
I love it. Yeah. I love it. I love it. I absolutely love it. Okay, so before I lose the two of you all at the top of the hour, tell me, ideally, how do you know if you're in a healthy relationship? 1 minute.
Communication. Communication is 100% top tier for me. If we cannot be able to communicate, we can't. You talked about it earlier. If we can't be friends, I want to be able to just have a good time with you. Let's laugh. Let's joke. Let's just do all of the things and you not judge me. And I can be who I am at a house and not all dolled up and all of the things and just have a good time with my person.
Dominique, how do you know if you're in a healthy relationship?
Again, emotional safety. That is paramount for me. I need that to be able to be intimate, sexually. I need the friendship part and I need the vulnerability. I think that is super important to where we are fully locked in.
Yeah, we all three are on the same page with that, because for me, communication is everything. I definitely love somebody that I can have a ball with. Absolutely. And as you said, there's no judgment. We can talk about anything. I'm not judging you. You're not judging me. But we're in this to have a good time. And the other thing is to build each other up, to really see how we can build a beautiful life together. Not just what I can get from you or what you can get from me, but what can we bring each other, mutually bring to the table.
Yeah. And it's also, you should never, even if
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know from BIN News. The FBI says U.S. Army veteran Shamsuddin Jabbar likely acted alone in the New Year's Day truck attack in New Orleans. They're investigating his trips to Egypt and Canada in 2023. The attack killed 14 and Jabbar died in a shootout with police. U.S. Customs and Border Protection warns of scammers posing as CBP officers promising money or threatening law enforcement. CBP will never call to request money or Social Security numbers. The counting and certification of the 2024 electoral vote will take place today at the U.S. Capitol. Security has been increased due to a heightened threat environment with extra patrols and collaboration with partner agencies. And Mufasa, the Lion King, leads the box office in 2025's first weekend, earning over $7 million on Friday and ranking among 2024's top 15 domestic releases. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 at BINnews.com.
Lowe's knows how to save you time and money. Order what you need by 2 p.m. to get it delivered same day. Valid on eligible in-stock orders and select zip codes for same-day delivery. Subject to driver availability. Fees vary based on purchase. More terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The NFL playoffs are set. The Chargers and Rams are in the wild card round. The Chargers will play at Houston on Saturday. The Rams will be at home next Monday night against Minnesota. Magic Johnson's NFL team, the Washington Commanders, will play at Tampa Bay Sunday night. First playoff appearance for the Commanders franchise in 5 years. The Commanders' 12-5 record represents their highest win total since 1991. It was a big weekend for Magic. On Saturday, Magic was given the Presidential Medal of Freedom Award at the White House by President Biden. The Lakers lost at Houston last night, 119-115. The Clippers are at Minnesota tonight. USC's women's basketball team got a 50-point win Sunday at Rutgers, 23 points, 14 rebounds, and 3 steals for USC star Juju Watkins. The Trojans are 14-1, 4-0 in the Big Ten Conference. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Here they come, y'all. Here they come. Here they come, y'all. Here they come. Get out the way. Ooh. First things first with Dominique DiPrima at 6 a.m. Tavis Smiley at 9 a.m. Truth Time with Dr. Cornell West and Nina Turner at 12 noon. Here they come, y'all. Here they come. Here they come, y'all. Here they come. Get out the way. Get out the way. Get out the way. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show at 1 p.m. The D.L. Hughley Afternoon Show at 2 p.m. A More Perfect Union with Dr. Nee Quarterly Quartet at 4 p.m. Here they come, y'all. Here they come. Here they come, y'all. Here they come. Get out the way. Get out the way. Get out the way. Tune in weekdays from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. for the talk of of the town. Only on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about. Here they come, y'all. Here they come.
Somebody's been praying for me.
Thanks to the generous support of the KBLA Talk 1580 delegation, we were able to donate 545 pounds of coats and blankets to the LA Mission this winter season.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
The LA Mission expressed its deep gratitude for our gift all over social media, but we wish to thank them and all the other service providers who look out daily for the less fortunate in our community, finding our happy by being helpful.
Hallelujah.
We're KBLA Talk 1580, where we do more than just talk.
Somebody's been praying for me.
Somebody bring out the confetti, baby!
Starting Monday, January 6th, KBLA Talk 1580 has a new midday lineup.
I'm excited.
Are you ready for Tavis Smiley, Dr. Cornel West, Jesse Jackson Jr., D.L. Hughley, and E. Quarterly Corte back-to-back?
Oh, my God.
Are you really ready for all this smoke?
I'm ready, brother.
Yes, we still have Dominique DiPrima in the mornings and Zoe Williams in the evenings, but middays just got lit on KBLA Talk 1580.
We on fire.
All across America, people are talking about our new midday lineup. Starting Monday, January 6th, our KBLA 1580 app downloads are on fire because everybody's going to be tuning in.
Yes, I love you guys. You are the bomb.
Now would be a good time to hit up SMB at KBLA1580.com if you want folks to hear about your business or brand. That's SMB at KBLA1580.com. It's going up in 2025 on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's going up.
That's what I want.
First things first.
First things first, it's the DU General, Money B. I'ma put you up on the schedule, 6 to 9, 8 weekdays, not 2 and 7. Let's go. We got a lot to talk about, so much to pedal through. Unapologetically progressive. Tune to KBLA 1580 to get the mess. We're your ancestors' favorite radio station. First black on talk radio, left side of the nation. Me and Dominique DiPrima go way back. Tag Smiley making sure the station stays black. Discussing all the issues in our community. We're hosted black and brown and others find unity. So let's talk about it. Maybe we can improve it. Digital underground, always down with the movement. So we tune in. The first things first with the queen of black talk radio, Dominique DiPrima. Go sis.
First things first.
KBLA Talk 1580. Good morning and God bless. I'm Dominique DiPrima. This show is called First Things First, and my very first thing today and every day, giving thanks, giving praises, and asking for blessings from God, asking for the blessings of the ancestors and the elders, and getting it going. It really, really, really does feel like the year has begun. And first things first, so glad you could be here with us this early morning. Look, this is how we do the show Monday through Thursday. Hour 1, we usually look local. Hour 2, we go national, international, and beyond. And in the third hour, we do a deep, deep dive on a hot topic, a person of interest. I'm still on my kick off the new year, get it together mode. Get yourself balanced and ready for whatever the battles may be. So we'll be hearing from Master Yoga Instructor Purusha in Hour 3. Of course, Hour 2, we do Mindful Monday with Sahara Ali, but also opening the phone lines for whatever's on your mind with freestyle phones. We have in Hour 1 very legendary voice joining us to celebrate, commemorate, demarcate, deal with 1/6. Yeah. Attempted coup day anniversary. He's a radio and TV host, a political analyst, a commentator. He has been on this broadcast journey since the 1980s. He is an activist going back beyond that. Went to Georgetown University School of Foreign Service. Got a bachelor's in journalism from the University of the District Columbia and a master's in divinity from Howard University. I'm honored to have Reverend Mark Thompson Matsimela Mapfumo. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you this morning on this, I guess, this first Monday of the new year? You're right. It does feel like the new year, doesn't it? We're back to reality.
Yeah. Yep. Back to work. No more putting it off. Resolutions kick in. Yeah, I'm good. I don't know what you call January. What do we call January 6th now? World Fascism Day, America in Denial Day, National Flip-Flop Day, the death anniversary of democracy. Like, what do you call it?
Well, that's a good question because I think Joe Biden said over the weekend we should commemorate this day somehow, but I don't think we really have. I don't think we've come up with a name for it, and it's difficult to do when the person who instigated it has been restored back to office or practically rewarded for doing what he did. Most of us can't commit certain crimes and go on with our lives as though nothing happened. But somehow or another, he's been able to, and I think, unfortunately, for a lot of folks, especially many of us who are African Americans, there's still some lingering questions and issues around even this past election. I know there will be a peaceful transfer of power. There'll be no challenge coming from the Democrat side, but as black folk, we kind of know, and we have our own instincts. A lot of this just doesn't add up, beginning with the fact that no one of us could do anything like this. The playing field is not level, it's not fair. We're often having to pay the price for crimes we didn't commit. Here someone is committing crimes in full view of the world, on television, on video, and is rewarded for it. And not to mention, like, as I said, as I alluded to, there's still some very serious concerns, and to some extent, some hard feelings about what happened in November. So it's a lot to process today in this new year.
I think it really, I feel like to your point, I know a lot of our KBLA delegation here, something fishy about this election, certainly that cabal of pros that have coalesced behind the president reelect, the president-elect. If anyone could pull off some fishy business, it's them, the kings of the algorithms. But we dutifully fall in line behind our democratic norm, right, of peaceful transfer of power. It'd be nice to see, we'd like to see receipts. A lot of us would like to see receipts for especially precincts, voting precincts that seem surprising or highly improbable that they would go the way that they did.
Yeah. And you mean to tell me that Kamala Harris could not win one single battleground state?
Yeah.
And in all of these states, we're that down ballot Democrats won, and she couldn't win one of them.
Right. Meaning governors are winning, senators are winning.
Yeah.
All these folks are winning, and yet she doesn't. And the so-called landslide turns out to be less than 2 million votes, which is not a landslide.
No.
Yeah.
No, not a landslide at all. So, I think it's a fair question. What do we, under any other circumstances, this would be recognized today very, very differently, but it's not. It's really bizarre and confusing and jarring.
Yeah.
That the certification of someone in an insurrection just 4 years ago. We fall in line. I get it when I say we. I sound like Malcolm X says we sound, Massasoit, we sick,
right.
Because it's really not we, because our spirits aren't tied to this, but it's even kind of counterintuitive.
Our spirits aren't tied, but we're not out there, running around saying stop the steal. We don't want to be them, right? So
no.
And that's one of the reasons for the normalization of this, massive crime spree, which is really what it comes down to on the part of the president-elect.
Yeah, you're right. And we don't want to do what they do, yet somehow the rocks cry out for something to be said. And that may ultimately be one of the flaws of democracy. The democracy is fine, but there are flaws. It's imperfect. That one can carry on that behavior and get away with it. And I think if we unpack that, we have to acknowledge that was an attorney general, and I think even Biden alluded to this in the past few days, who was reluctant to prosecute and bring charges.
To do his job, actually.
Yeah. Just wouldn't do it. And let's go back and search our memory banks. Many of us did not support Merrick Garland for nomination to the Supreme Court. He was a compromise choice by President Obama because he thought that he would get through, and then ultimately what did they do? They didn't even hold hearings. They didn't even allow his confirmation. But let's look at the history. Merrick Garland, when I lived in Washington, D.C., and we went to the Supreme Court to make the case for D.C. statehood, the last colony, Merrick Garland was with the Solicitor General's office. He argued in oral arguments in the Supreme Court against D.C. statehood, number one. Number two, Merrick Garland was on the prosecution team, one of the leaders of the prosecution, against Mayor Marion Barry in Washington, D.C. And despite Mayor Barry's personal downfalls, we know that was a somewhat of a selective and political prosecution. So those were red flags. And we're like, wait a minute, what, this dude? And then to reward him after that to be the Attorney General, and look how long it took for there even to be a special counsel. Just even months, a mere months earlier, maybe something could have been done about this.
Yeah.
But alas, it wasn't. And so here we are.
Great points all. We're talking with Reverend Mark Thompson Matsimela Mapfumo, and you're welcome to join the convo, 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. I don't care how much Trump pivots, Elon lies, and the mainstream media kisses the ring because they don't want to be shut out of the inner circle. We will not forget the realities of what went down on this day in 2021. I'm Dominique DiPrima for KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right. So we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback.
Joe Biden is on the high road. That's, I guess, kind of what a president has to do. But I think it's up to us.
Someone got to get that memo to Trump. We got news, traffic, and sports right here, Rev. We continue our conversation.
And this breaking news, I can't wait to get your take on this. They're saying CNN is reporting that Justin Trudeau will resign as the Prime Minister of Canada. Oh, boy. KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 Things You Should Know from BIN News. Americans are paying respects to the late President Jimmy Carter, who died at 100. He will lie in repose in Georgia before traveling to Washington, D.C. for a ceremony and public viewing at the Capitol. Over a third of workers are considering job changes in 2025, according to the Global Talent Barometer. Nearly half of workers aged 18 to 27 and over 40% of remote workers plan to switch jobs this year. President Biden will deliver 2 major speeches before his term ends. On Thursday, Biden will travel to Rome and Vatican City for a 3-day visit. He'll deliver a foreign policy speech on January 12th and is preparing a farewell address. And the Detroit Lions won 31-9 over the Minnesota Vikings on Sunday Night Football, scoring 21 unanswered points in the second half. They clinched the NFC North and the number 1 seed with a 15-2 record. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 at BINnews.com.
Lowe's knows how to save you time and money. Order what you need by 2 p.m. to get it delivered same day. Valid on eligible in-stock orders and select zip codes for same-day delivery. Subject to driver availability. Fees vary based on purchase. More terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The NFL playoffs are set. The Chargers and Rams are in the wild card round. The Chargers will play at Houston on Saturday. The Rams will be at home next Monday night against Minnesota. Magic Johnson's NFL team, the Washington Commanders, will play at Tampa Bay Sunday night. First playoff appearance for the Commanders franchise in 5 years. The Commanders' 12-5 record represents their highest win total since 1991. It was a big weekend for Magic. On Saturday, Magic was given the Presidential Medal of Freedom Award at the White House by President Biden. The Lakers lost at Houston last night, 119-115. The Clippers are at Minnesota tonight. USC's women's basketball team got a 50-point win Sunday at Rutgers, 23 points, 14 rebounds, and 3 steals for USC star Juju Watkins. The Trojans are 14-1, 4-0 in the Big Ten Conference. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
The holidays can be a time of increased stress for those struggling with opioid or stimulant addiction. They can also be a time for pause, reflection, opportunity, and new beginnings. This holiday season, choose treatment and recovery, embrace the company of family and friends, and create special moments. Find a proven opioid or stimulant addiction treatment provider near you at choosechangeca.org.
Hey, Mom, I've been meaning to talk to you about some new COVID information I saw online. I read that 3 out of 4 adults in the United States have a high risk factor for severe COVID-19. And Black folks like us with certain conditions like diabetes, heart disease, mental health conditions, or being 50 and older are at high risk.
Boy, you sound like a commercial.
I'm just saying. I know you love your ginger teas and essential oils, but remember, there are treatment options for COVID-19.
I promise if I get sick again, I'll call my doctor to ask about my options.
Joe Montana here. In my football days, I knew the importance of a strong defense. Now I'm sharing how you can help defend your health against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease. Are you 50 or older like me? The CDC now recommends vaccination against pneumococcal disease. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at increased risk and over 6 times greater risk of hospitalization with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50. Schedule your appointment today at vaxassist.com.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
The smarter way to clean your floors. It's time to make the swap. Swiffer Power Mop.
Introducing the new Swiffer Power Mop, the all-in-one tool that gives you a mop and bucket clean in half the time. The solution's built right in, so no heavy bucket, and the pad has hundreds of scrubbing strips to get deep into grout. Don't mop harder, mop smarter.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
If you need extra cash this holiday season, go to WeFixMoney.com. WeFixMoney.com could help you get up to $3,000, sometimes the same day. WeFixMoney.com has been helping customers get emergency cash for 15 years and has an A rating with the Better Business Bureau. If you need emergency cash for gifts, bills, childcare, or anything else this holiday season, go to WeFixMoney.com. It's free to use, available 24/7, and you are never required to accept any loan offered. Go to the site you can trust. WeFixMoney.com. That's WeFixMoney.com.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
And we're talking with the long-time radio host, activist, and pastor, shouldn't leave that out, Reverend Mark Thompson Matsimela Mapfumo, looking at this January 6th. And I'm sure you heard me say, Reverend, that typically in our first hour, we like to focus on what's going on the left coast. But this situation, January 6th, and its aftermath, with the pending inauguration, the reelected President Trump, makes it, I think, a local issue in every single city and state in this union, from sea to shining sea, as it were.
Well, again, thank you for having me on, and God bless your audience. Happy New Year. I hope everyone has had a blessed holiday season. Well, I do think it makes it local, particularly because you are in California. And I think what's on the table now with the loss in November, we know that Kamala Harris is considering a gubernatorial run in your very state.
Yeah.
And why not? White men run for president, as this one has done, and lose and run multiple times. Richard Nixon did it.
Joe Biden did it.
Joe Biden did it. Richard Nixon, in fact, what did he do? He lost and then ran for California governor, and lost and still became the president. So why can't a woman, particularly a woman of color, do the same thing after running what was an historic and unprecedented 107-day election, a 107-day campaign? So we will all be watching today, and I heard you mention before the break the news about Justin Trudeau. In about an hour, he'll make an announcement. It's unclear whether he will resign the premiership or whether he will just step down for the moment as the head of the party, which means eventually he will more than likely no longer be prime minister. But all the headlines point to Trump and Trump's tariff policy being the reason. And when Trump made that announcement, it started to unravel the Trudeau government. And so we're seeing throughout the world this right-wing shift in a number of countries. Even in France, things could have been a lot worse in France, and they weren't as bad as they could have been. Nevertheless, there's a rightward shift all over the world with this white nationalism, with this somewhere on the spectrum of fascist to fascist adjacent type of politics. And so this is a scary time, but not a time for us to relent, not a time for us to withdraw or hide. We really don't even have the luxury, Dominique, to be crestfallen or depressed. You know, some folks, I don't want to do anything anymore. I don't want to, Mark, I don't want to be out here. I'll make an announcement publicly that I've not made, despite my eternal youthful appearance. I was one of the leaders of the shadow inauguration, the counter inauguration against George W. Bush in 2001, some 24 years ago. And so I believe in that. I mean, I believe in those things. Not an insurrection, but I think we have a right under our First Amendment to raise whatever contradictions exist. And so it was my thought, just in case, to reserve space and real estate to march on January 20th if the insurrectionists somehow recaptured the White House. And so things were put in place, and without trying to get, too many decent people in trouble, for the first time, there was my permit application was granted for an enormous amount of real estate on January 20th for us to make a statement as to, okay, this man's president, we see that. But here are the policies, here are the issues that we oppose. We will be the loyal opposition. And in the nonviolent way we've always demonstrated. But people in the movement are so crestfallen and so burned out and so shocked and traumatized. It was almost impossible. It really was impossible to mobilize. And there's some groups that are going to mobilize on January 18th. But in terms of the full resistance that we would have seen otherwise, it's just not there. And that's concerning. But, we have to respond to where people are. And so we've got to get to a place where we rebuild ourselves or reinvigorate ourselves and continue our historical, long-standing Black liberation movement in its historical context. We can't stop and we cannot yield. And we will have to do that and continue that even under this administration. That's very different. And I tell you all, after January 6th, we demonstrated for the George Floyd Act and for the John Lewis Act. And the Capitol Police were glad to see us because they knew we weren't there to kill them. They knew we weren't there to harm. I'm going to tell you, we were arrested in front of the Hart Senate office building, a group of black men in support of black women and women in the Congressional Black Caucus who had gone to jail. Guy arrested Sheila Jackson Lee Soule, had gone to jail 2 weeks earlier. 2 weeks later, myself and Cliff Albright and others, Black Voters Matter, committed civil disobedience in the Hart building. And, I have the dubious distinction of doing a lot of civil disobedience at Capitol Hill over the years. When we got there were people I knew who were Capitol Police officers who had been there for years. I lived in Washington. These are regular, everyday people. And I'm in jail, and they asked me to pray for them. While I was in jail, I was in their custody. They asked me to pray for them inside the jail because of what happened January 6th.
Mm.
That was the trauma they were still under. And many of them had to resign. Many of them had to take an early retirement. I met the black woman who was a lieutenant. They threw acid on January 6th. She's still there. God bless her. But that was the impact. People, they forgot. I said, y'all know y'all arrested me. Y'all are charging me with something today. No, but we need you to pray for us. And they told me their stories, and it was moving and tragic and all of those things. So we cannot forget the meaning of this day. We cannot forget what happened. People actually died.
Yeah.
And let me just say, if I could,
of course.
I lived in Washington for 25 years. To be a Capitol Police officer is like the cream of the crop, so to speak, for those in public service. As many issues as we have with police violence and police brutality, we know that there are those apples. But for a lot of people, especially folks look like you and me, Dominic, it's just a job. It's a way of making a living. And so when you're a D.C. police officer, a lot of times you want to elevate to be a Capitol Police officer precisely because it is a safer job. It is not as dangerous as being in the streets dealing with a drug war that disproportionately affects us and targets us. So this is not a group of people that is prepared for mass violence in that way. You just get them to go to work every morning like you and I do every day. And so when you look at that and you put those faces and names to it, There were people who I went to school with in college. Said, Mark, remember, we were at school together. See, yeah, we were. So I've been here 20 years, Mark, and they tried to kill me. I need you to pray for me. I said, right here, right now, in this jail, yes. So that lends also a human element to it, not to mention the regular, everyday staff people who work on Capitol Hill, who are threatened and cowering under desks, afraid for their lives. This was a truly harrowing situation that could have gotten much worse. And Donald Trump has never apologized. And if, Lord have mercy, he does what he says he's going to do and blanket pardons all of those individuals, that's really going to be something.
I mean,
and so as much as we want, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Even the chief of U.S. Capitol Police, Chief Thomas Menger, said that it would be a bad move to pardon the people who attack the police. I mean, he goes out of his way to say, I'm not talking about any particular president or any particular pardon. I don't. I mean, I guess that's the politic thing to do. But he's saying, what message does that send? And what message would you be sending to cops across the nation if someone doesn't think that a conviction for an assault or worse against a police officer is something that should be upheld? These are the things that make my head explode. They can still claim to be the party of law and order while pardoning people who assaulted and even, took actions that led to the death of police officers.
Right.
They can still be the anti-immigrant party while, arguing for these special visas. And Musk can still tweet that we need to deport all immigrants who are convicted sex offenders. And yet, we have a convicted sex offender who's about to get sworn in as president of the United States. It's like we've entered an alternate reality. And I think that is one of the reasons why I did appreciate Joe Biden's op-ed and why I do appreciate, the conversations that are happening everywhere that center what we saw with our own eyes and the facts that the January 6th committee laid out so beautifully so that we can at least have a record somewhere of what actually happened. I want to get your take when we continue, Reverend Mark Thompson Matsimela Mapfumo, on these presidential awards and what messages Biden was sending, what they really mean, and your thoughts on that. That's straight ahead on KBLA Talk 1580.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down. Get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
One make you. Yeah.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
Hey, what are you doing up on the step stool?
About to clean these light fixtures. The whole family's coming over, and if there's even a speck of dust in the house, my abuela will find it.
Here, I got a Swiffer duster to help with that.
A Swiffer what?
A Swiffer duster. It has this cool extendable handle that reaches 6 feet to get high and low, with fluffy dusters that easily trap and lock dust.
So, no more step stool?
No more step stool.
Easily trap and lock dust from hard-to-reach places with the Swiffer duster. Love it or your money back.
Taxes was waiting around for your taxes to be done, which led to worrying about not getting any money back. Now Taxes is matching with a TurboTax expert who can do your taxes in a day to get you up to $4,000 fast with a refund advance loan. Now this is Taxes. Intuit TurboTax. Get an expert now on TurboTax.com. Expert filing only available with TurboTax Live Full Service. Refund advance has $0 loan fees and 0% APR. Refund advance loans may be issued by First Century Bank, N.A. or WebBank. Terms apply. Subject to approval.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where everybody is somebody and nobody is a stranger. You belong here.
Continuing the conversation with Reverend Mark Thompson Matsimela Mapfumo. Look, the hour flies by, and I have a few things I want to touch on with you. Sure. But one of those is the medals that President Biden, yes, he's still the president, Medal of Freedom ceremony that he chose to hand out. Medal of Freedom to 19 people. And to your point about X, a bunch of right-wingers were on there going, how does Denzel Washington get a Medal of Freedom? I guess they don't. Apparently, it's fine for Trump to give them out to golfers. But
right.
What do you think the message is that the president actually was sending with these awards, and talk about what they really mean?
Well, it was a broad group, and I hate to think, well, and maybe I'm wrong for thinking this way, but when I look at a lot of the people, I think this was a way to be sure that people were honored and recognized while someone like Biden was in office to do it.
Right.
We don't know where this is headed. As you said, this is foreboding what we're looking at today. And our friend Joy Reid months ago said, if Trump's reelected, we may very well be looking at the end of politics in America. And so what I saw was there were so many people. I said, well, obviously, and I can say I wouldn't have done the same thing.
Right.
If I was president, you would have got, if under these circumstances, I would have made sure you got hooked up. Chavis, all y'all would have got medals this weekend. And it would have been transparent. Yeah, the brother's doing that because we don't know. We just don't know what's going to happen around here. So I don't knock it. However, Biden still has, 14 more days. There's other things he needs to do. He needs to pardon immigrant activist Ravi Ragbir. He needs to pardon Marcus Garvey. He needs to pardon Marilyn Mosby. And he needs to commute the sentences of every single non-violent drug offender doing time here in America. Now, if you really, so it's fine. You can say, I upheld the peaceful transfer of power when my predecessor didn't. Beautiful, thank you. But you really want to go down in history, you pardon Marcus Garvey and Marilyn Mosby and Ravi Ragbir and commute the sentences.
And sign an executive order on the doggone reparations study.
Absolutely.
Sign that. I mean, I know there's a petition at Reparations United to get him to do that. Sign that. The Japanese Americans that want him to, offer reparations, some kind of reparation to the survivors of the Tulsa Race Massacre. Sign an executive order on the Equal Rights Amendment. Sign an executive order on the doggone voting rights and police reimagining that goes beyond what he's already done, and then make the Trump administration make those suckers undo it one by one by
That's
one
right.
and show their asses.
Absolutely. In her last year, Sheila Jackson Lee called me. We worked closely on HR 40. She was going to meet with him one-on-one. And she said, I want some advice. What do you think I should say? I said, say to him that if he really wants to be a legacy president, to finish the unfinished work of Abraham Lincoln and create the Reparations Commission. So she goes to him and says that in those words, you could finish the unfinished work of Abraham Lincoln. And he pretty much said to her, she reported back to me, I said, what did he say? He said, oh, Sheila, don't do that to me. I can never live up to Lincoln. But ultimately, you can. If you're a president, you know, it's not about your personal view of yourself. It is about the responsibility you have to continue this unfinished work. So all of these things he could do. I'm happy for all those who received those awards, and Denzel most deserving, and Magic. Everyone who received one was deserving, including Mitt Romney's father, who he himself never lived up to, George Romney, a great man, who stood with Dr. King, the governor of Michigan. But these other things must happen as well. And so we're prayerful. And folks haven't stopped. Just got an email this morning. More signatures on these petitions to get pardons for some of these other people. And he should. He pardoned his son. I'm not opposed to that. Trump is going to pardon everybody under the sun he can.
Absolutely, he will.
Needs to pardon those who actually deserve pardons.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I chuckled that he went ahead and gave a medal to Hillary Clinton and George Soros, like the two boogie persons of the right. And congrats for sure to Magic Johnson. We've got Molly Bell on the phone straight out of Compton trying to talk to you, Reverend Mark. Good morning, Molly Bell.
Reparations in memory of our ancestors. God bless morning, Reverend Mark. Reverend Mark, I just have a quick question. Reverend Mark, is it okay for us as Christians to refer to a duly elected president as a liar, a thief, an unjust man, and not supporting him because his righteousness is not in him? Because, you know, Jesus said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. So as a Christian, I have some black family who are MAGA members, and they said to me, Molly Bell, how can you talk about Trump knowing that you are a Christian? I know I got to go, so I know time is up. So all you prayer warriors out there, keep fasting, keep praying, because the struggle continues, and always to God be the glory. Thank you, Reverend Mark.
Quickly, Molly, the ultimate, and God bless you, the ultimate question for all people of faith is how so many people of faith, especially evangelicals, can support someone who is the opposite of what they even stand for and promote. That's the question, and we've got to have that conversation as people of faith amongst ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, and a person of faith can call a snake, and a devil, and a demon, right? Without if you're telling the truth. That's
right, and call out the double standard.
Yeah.
Because we know that some of these, especially those on the right, who are fire and brimstone, would condemn this behavior in others, the convictions, the sexual assaults, all of that, and yet somehow they give him a pass. How is that possible? For what?
Yeah. Well, a million other questions, but just a quick take on this Justin Trudeau thing. It's also Elon Musk has been talking smack about him constantly. And I almost wish he would have stood firm just so that it wouldn't seem like these guys had the power to remove heads of state for other nations.
Yeah, that's the power they seem to have. It's really, again, it's almost into politics. And X is too powerful a platform. But I will say this as we go. It's not just that. Musk is in this world of electronic cars and whatnot. Folks, we must address the plight of our people.
Yeah.
Our sisters and brothers in the Congo are dying every day for the sake of these electronic and battery-powered devices that we use every day. And we've got to search within our souls and ask ourselves, what are we doing and why are we so silent about that? Yeah. What is going on in Congo? These are our people. And these are creature comforts that we take for granted without realizing the life and the cost that is involved here. Not to mention, they're about to wage war against immigrants, even though Musk is an immigrant, even though all Trump's wives are immigrants, even though his family were immigrants coming to this country. They're going to take a lot of people out in addition to those who are enslaved practically in the Congo for these creature comforts we enjoy. And so we've got to search within our souls. And I'm going to tell you right now, that's my New Year's resolution. Not another day in this year is going to go by when I'm not raising the issue of what is happening in Congo. And we've got to, beyond that, we see news every day from all over the world. Don't see any news that covers Africa. It's like it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
But there are real human beings who are tethered to. That is who we are and where we are from. We are an African people, and we must stand for them. Elon Musk was a South African, a white South African, and now he is practically the co-president. That's not a good thing. A minority is running a majority, and there's a word for that in history. It's called apartheid.
Yeah. Reverend Mark Thompson Matsimela Mapfumo, thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Thank you for having me. God bless you all.
God bless you too. Mindful Mondays next, then more of your phone calls on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know from BIN News. Americans are paying respects to the late President Jimmy Carter, who died at 100. He will lie in repose in Georgia before traveling to Washington, D.C. for a ceremony and public viewing at the Capitol. Over a third of workers are considering job changes in 2025, according to the Global Talent Barometer. Nearly half of workers aged 18 to 27 and over 40% of remote workers. Kings on Sunday Night Football scoring 21 unanswered points in the second half.